Hey everyone, how are you? It's Ali. I'm coming to you with a quick just checking in. I haven't been on here past few days like I thought I was. As you guys know, I'm coming to Seattle because July the 10th and 12th I'm hosting educational conversations, and they will be dealing with educational racism in our children on the 10th and the 12th. The first one, of course, is going to be at the Centennial Cultural Center in Seattle, and it's for my early birds from 10 a.m. till noon, and then of course for my individuals, I created another day for those who can't come in the morning times but can do after work, and that will be at Admiral Byrd in Seattle, and that's from 6 to 8. And so I've really been on the run and talking, to people, to teens, college students who remember sometimes are still teens, in preparation for my conversations that are going to be held in Seattle. And some of the stories, I'm going to be honest with you, they've been really deep. They've been really deep. I hate the fact that I can't bring these individuals with me so that as I was having the conversation, I could literally have, sometimes I think that having bodies in the room is a whole lot better than watching it on video. And I will tell you, if I could bring some of these kids with me, I would. But some of the stories were very deep, very heavy. Even though I spoke to a good number, of course, I wasn't able to get them all on video, which kind of, was a bummer, but it is what it is between school being out, all of our schedules being different, and then a couple hesitant to have their face on screen, which I got. I got it, and initially, sometimes when you present something to people or when they want to partake of something, initially they're gung-ho, but then once they see what it entails, what it involves, a lot of times, sometimes people get hesitant, and I understand it. And especially when it concerns racism. Racism is one of those topics. It's probably one of the topics. It is the topic, probably almost all of the topics in the United States of America, in which people either shy away from it, they walk away from it, or they close the door on it. So I was not shocked when, even though I had a plan, I had to navigate and adapt my plan to those individuals. And that was fine with me, because as long as I got the stories, that's what's matter. That is what mattered, because as a history teacher, I'm telling people's and nations' histories and stories all the time. So the good thing was this was in my realm, in my field. But I'm not going to be on here too long, y'all, because it is literally 93 degrees out here. The cool thing is to me, it feels like 80 because I love the heat, but that's another story for another time. But one of the things that I wanted to kind of touch upon, and I'm not going to get too much into it because it makes me cry. I won't lie. When I was doing this one interview, there was one moment where I broke down. And so, I'm trying to, so I was talking to a young lady, and I won't show this part of the video. She was one of the ones who was okay with me actually filming the interview after we talked, and or some of the interview after we spoke. And one of the things that she shared on the video during the video interview was how when she was about, I want to say 13 years old, and she was with her father, and I think they were in the store, and I can't remember if he was getting gas. I think they were getting gas, and of course, he went in to pay for the gas, and so she's 13, she's a kid, her father went in there to get her something, something that she'd asked for, and she's waiting outside the car, and she spoke of how a white man, older man, in his 50s as a matter of fact, approached her. And that was just it. He approached her, and she just talked about, through her story, because I'm not going to give it's not lengthy, but it can be lengthy. But throughout her sharing this story with me, sharing her experience with me, one of the things after she mentioned that he approached her was how he started, basically what he's doing was he started sexualizing her. and stereotyping her at the exact same time. And in the video, she put it so well. Like she said, you know, a lot of times for us as melanated girls, a lot of times our sexualization is always intertwined with our physicalities and stereotypes that go along with it. So she's basically saying that, you know, the way we're stereotyped, because it's already sexualized, any conversation that tends to come, any conversation, when melanated young girls do many times face racism, especially if it's coming from a place of microaggression, it's always stemming from stereotypes. And a lot of times, especially in the African American community, those stereotypes are ladled or laced with racism. Those stereotypes or those racist connotations are laced with sexism or over sexualization. And so, and I said over sexualization, just so you know, intentionally. I didn't say sexualization. I said over sexualization, because a lot of times sexualization is bad in itself, but a lot of times, for some reason, it tends to go just a little bit further in African American communities with the young girls. And she was just saying how he started talking about her legs, you know, and then telling her that her legs were sexy. And what did she run track? And then, of course, mentioning her butt. But of course, he didn't say butt. I can't remember. I think he said booty. And see, and so I'm not getting deep into the story, because trust me, I could get more vivid and use the language that she used. But for me, it was emotionally overwhelming. But one of the things I did ask her was, you know, what did you do? And she said she was offended. She was hurt. She said she was ashamed. She was in shock. She said she felt violated. She said, but in the end, out of all of it, she said she felt helpless because she didn't know how to address it. She didn't know how to tell this grown man that he was already making her feel uncomfortable. Now he was, you know, she was scared. And at the same time, she knew that there was something happening and that he was saying things that were inappropriate to her, and she didn't know what to do. And I asked her, well, why didn't you tell your father? And she said, one of the things she said is because she said, I could not tell my father that and know that if I did, my words might be responsible for his death. For me, as a woman of color, that was one of the most poignant moments of me interviewing all of these young individuals. And they all had poignant moments, but for me that touched home. And then the reality of recognizing of how racism has literally placed generations of children to this point in time who do not tell their parents specific things, is because they understand that our parents are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to protect their children no matter what the cost, even if it means jail, which can mean death. And the fact that racism has put our children in that place of having to literally, more or less, suck up, quote unquote, you know what I mean? Suck things up and take them and internalize them. And they be damaged because the one people or person or community that could protect them could die because of it. That was so deep for me. And I don't know, and I don't think that will be addressed. I'm pretty sure it won't be addressed in my conversations that will be held in Seattle. But I do know that that is something that I'll have to follow up here in the future, and probably pretty soon future, about, you know, just racism in itself. I'm dealing with the academic aspect and the environment now, but I think I might need to generalize some of my conversations, aka workshops, because this was deep. And I recognize that in the end, even though I've separated the two, realistically speaking, for these children, it's one. What happens inside the classroom happens to them outside the street, in a grocery store, in a mall, in their neighborhoods. They don't get to, it travels with them. And so I just thought I would share that moment with you. I'm going to get off of here. Realistically, this was supposed to be quick and an update. And so now I just want to let you know I will be leaving tomorrow. And so by tomorrow night, I will be in Seattle. And then, of course, my feet will be on the ground in preparation for the two conversations and workshops. I hope you're there. Please hit me up. Go onto my website, Allie the Conversation Starter. If you type that in, it'll pop up. Actually, my website is called The Change Starter. So if or if you put in AllieTConvoStarter.com, that is my my website, and all the information for the conversations will be there. If you're in the Seattle area, Bellevue, Bothell, Washington State, Kent, please come out, because this is really important. It affects all of us in this nation. If you're in the United States of America, and especially if you have kids or you have access to kids, you need to be, or a community leader, you need to be at this conversation, because it's that important. And you have questions and I have answers. All right, this is Allie. I will see you guys later. Inbox me. Let's finish this conversation down below. I love, 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 love your likes. Please give them to me. But I am all about that share. I'm all about that share. Please share my videos, because that's where this conversation needs to be held. All right, you guys, because that's how you get the message to spread, and that's how networking and conversations and action begins. All right, I'll see you guys later. Or in Seattle here. I'm sweating 93 degrees, crazy, but I love it. Bye.